Good afternoon, everyone. I am Loda Makatabog, and I will be reporting on the other legal bases of education. So the first one is the Republic Act number 139. So this act was enacted on June 14, 1947. This law provided that all public schools must only use books that are approved by the board for a period of 6 years from the date of their adoption. So in this law, it was stated that the board on textbooks will be created to be in charge of the selection and approval of textbooks to be used in public schools. So the members of the board will be appointed by the President of the Philippines himself and shall serve without compensation. Hindi sila binabayaran. Pero I think it's the same with us teachers kasi as teachers we are also assigned by our school heads to handle different coordinatorships without given additional fees. But a secretary will also be hired to assist and to be given a compensation of 4,800 pesos per annum. So per year, pinabayaran ng 4,800. We might think it's a small amount kasi imagine 4,800 pesos a year. But let's check the year that this law was enacted again. This was enacted in 1947. Okay, so RA 139 was repealed by Republic Act number 8047, or the Book Publishing Industry Act. So that act is more specific than the RA 139. Next, the Republic Act number 896. This act, so an act to declare the policy on elementary education in the Philippines. This act is also known as the Elementary Education Act of 1953. So this act states that the primary course shall be composed of four grades. That's grade 1 to grade 4, an intermediate course of 3 grades. So grade 5 to grade 7. So the first one, enacted on June 20, 1953 and known as the Elementary Education Act of 1953, it repealed Commonwealth Act 586 and provided for the following. The first one is the restoration of grade 7. But again, the first one is not implemented due to the lack of funds. Next, in this law also stated that from the grades 1 to grades 4, they may have one teacher may handle an entire class all day. So I think that's same case with me. I teach all the subjects, the same set of students for the entire day. And for the upper grade levels, grades 5 above, they will be departmentalized, or more teachers will be handling them per subject. So next, so this also states that it is compulsory for every parent to enroll their child in a public school and shall remain in school until the completion of an elementary education. But so far, I haven't heard of cases of parents wherein they were imprisoned because of the negligence of sending their children to elementary school. So far, wala naman ako narinig. Okay, for the exception for this act, so first one is when the child enrolls in or transfers to a private school. Second one is when the distance from the home of the child to the nearest school exceeds 3 kilometers, or if hindi safe yung pagbabiyahe ng bata papunta sa school, sa pinakamalapit na school. Next is if ang bata ay mentally or physically defective. Pero the parents must be able to show the certificate from the signed by the physician. Okay, so defective, that is a big word, no? So I think it's the same as learners who are suffering from hydrocephalus. So these learners can't really function well in school, not even at home. So they are given an exception. Next is indigent. So we noticed that the indigenous students are actually given a scholarship in the higher grade levels because they they cannot afford to send their children to school. Although we might say that it is free, but the projects and other requirements will still be costly for them. Next is if there is excess enrollment, but this is not practiced here in the Philippines. Like there are classes that consist of 60 students and above. Um, that is too much, no? I think we agree on that is too much. But yeah. Okay. Next is if the child is being homeschooled, but of course dapat yung parents nila na nag-homeschool sa kanila is parang registered. So next is the Republic Act number 1124, an act creating a Board of National Education charged with the duty of formulating general educational policies and directing the education interests of the nation. So who can you see in the picture? So that is the Department of Education Secretary, Leonor Magdolis Briones. So approved on June 16, 1954, this law created the Board of National Education, charged with the duty of formulating educational policies and directing the educational interests of the nation. So headed by the Secretary of Education, the Board of National Education is has a total of 15 members from different sectors. So their functions are, the first one is to formulate the objectives and basic policy of education, coordinate the objective functions, and the second one is to coordinate the objectives, functions, and activities of different types of educational institutions in the Philippines. So this is where we were given the different coordinatorships in our school. So this is when it started. Next is to set up general goals of accomplishment for the entire Philippine school system. So like when this pandemic started, when we had this pandemic, the Board of National Education is the first one to act and decided on how we're going to continue and maintain our students' learning. So pag sinabing walang academic freeze, walang academic freeze. So this act was repealed by our Republic Act number 7722. Okay. The last one is the Republic Act number 1265, an act making flag ceremony compulsory in all educational institutions. So this law was approved on June 11, 1955, and provided that a daily flag ceremony shall be compulsory in all educational institutions. This includes the singing of the Philippine national anthem. So in this act, it is stated that if a school refuses to conduct a flag ceremony, the school and its head will be reprimanded publicly. Since it's in the year 1955, the issue will be circulated through the use of newspapers. And if the school still fails to comply, there will be a cancellation of recognition or permit of the private educational institution. So this act was amended by Republic Act number 8491, or the Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines, wherein it doesn't focus on the schools anymore, but all government agencies and local government units as well. So that is the end of my report. I hope that you learned a lot from everything that I discussed. So it's only 9 minutes. It's a little less than 9 minutes. So thank you so much and have a great day.